When media lies and politicians spin, when the network is failing, truth is the first casualty. Welcome to the Network Failure Podcast. What is going on, people? Welcome to the Network Failure Podcast, episode 86. I'm your host, Mr. Meoff. It is Thursday, July 23rd, and we are cooked. The National Defense Authorization Act has passed the House. Off to the Senate it goes, and then the Big Daddy Trump's desk, and I think it's going to pass. I think it's going to go through, but maybe the Democrats will save us. Who knows? What else we got going on? We're back to full-blown war with Iran. How could I forget? Yep, we got more on the flock nonsense. Trump's big secret on who stole the election in 2020. Yeah, it was China. China. We got a little bit on health and JD Vance on Joe Rogan. So it's going to be a fun episode. As usual, before we get started, I got to thank God for every breath I take and that I'm here to bring you a message today. I want to thank you guys for listening. Thank you to Tension for the intro and outro music. And thank you, everybody, new and old, for all of the support. You're truly making a dream come true. I can't say thank you enough. All right, let's get rolling. You guys ready to go? Ready to rock and roll? Let's do this. So, before we actually start and get into the topics, I found this reel that I found very, very powerful on the Bible. So I wanted to share it with you guys. Very powerful message on all the connections and everything. And some people think that, none of it's real. But I don't know. Prove me wrong. Check this out.
This bar graph down here are all the books of the Bible and chapters. The length, number of verses in the chapter. Every one of these lines that connects, the darker the line, the more hyper connections, and it has a rainbow of pictures to show how interconnected the Bible is. Guess how many connections in the Bible? 63,000 connections in the Bible. If this was the work composed by one man, we would say this man is a master. The problem is, this is written by 40 different men over 1,500 years on 3 continents, Europe, Asia, and Africa, in 3 different languages, Greek, Hebrew, and Aramaic. And the entire book tells one united story. It's all connected together. You find me another book in all of human civilization that even scratches the surface of this.
What do you think of that? That's wild, right? 63,000 connections. Powerful. Very powerful. How could it, how could that not, with all that, people still, they doubt. But I don't know. All right. As I mentioned in the intro, the National Defense Authorization Act passed the House. Got a clip here from James Lee, but we're done. We're cooked. If this goes through the Senate, we're finished. Our militaries, our intelligence, all merged with Israel, and a very difficult time reversing it. Let's check out this clip. Very sad day.
116 members of Congress just committed treason by voting to integrate the U.S. military with Israel. Were 6 Democrats who voted yes. They are Cuellar, Davis, Golden, Gonzalez, Gray, Glausenkamp, Perez. Not shocking that they are also some of the biggest recipients of pro-Israel money. And almost every Republican voted for the bill except, of course, Thomas Massie, along with Breachin, Burchett, Crane, Hagman, Luna.
The only people that are thinking clearly are the Democrats. See that? I got my feet all up in my mouth.
and Roy. Shame on these people. They absolutely have blood on their hands, as we just had 2 more American soldiers killed this week fighting a war on behalf of Israel, and they are 25-year-old Tyler James Feehan and 19-year-old Isabella Gonzalez. In case you didn't know what the punishment for treason is, DJT will tell you it's the death penalty. So what's next is that the bill will now move to the Senate, where it will need 60 votes for the motion to proceed. Right now, there are 53 Republicans and 47 Democrats, so 7 of them will need to flip. And based on my best guess, this is probably the list of Democrats who are likely to betray America. Pause to read. So yeah, give them hell. 216.
Too much. So we got a problem here. I believe the vote is on the floor today. I think, I'm not sure, but I don't have any news on it. So let's pray, people. Let's pray, because this is too much. This is too much. But Thomas Massey's trying to save the day again. He was trying to stop this $2 billion that goes to the Kingdom of Jordan each year. We just spend $2 billion, just send it over, right? Let's read this. This is from After the Uniform and Thomas Massey. Let's do the math they don't want you to do. The U.S. sends $2 billion to the Kingdom of Jordan every year. Their king spent $100 million of it on luxury properties in Malibu, D.C., and London. 6 members of Congress voted to end it. 421 voted to keep it flowing. The Richard Starr Act, which ends the wounded veteran tax for 54,000 combat injured veterans, costs $1.3 billion per year to fund. That's less than what we send to Jordan annually. Instead of stopping Jordan's check, Congress passed the TCAVA, which cuts $57 billion from 1.5 million veterans over 10 years to pay for it. They are cutting $37 billion more from veterans than Jordan even receives. The money exists. They just want to spend. They just don't want to spend it on you. That's correct. See what they're doing? We are very, very occupied. Occupato. Let's get on to Iran. Okay, from Alex Jones, Iran issues warning and declares all commercial ship traffic permanently banned in the Strait of Hormuz. You want to hear Alex? Let's see what he's got to say.
Alert, Iran issues warning, declares commercial ship traffic is now permanently banned in the Strait of Hormuz. Remember, President Trump a month ago today signed the MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, ending the Iran war on his 80th birthday. And I said, it's not over.
Yeah, it wasn't over. But you would know, Alex Jones, because you work for Trump. So I don't want to hear it. I do not want to hear it. From Steve Ram 3 over on Instagram, Iran announces full-scale war. Brace for consequences. Let's check out the clip, the reel.
Couple of hours today, July 20th, 2020. Developing news coming out in the past couple of hours today, July 20th, 2026, as we're hearing that the president of Iran has announced full-scale war is about to take place. It's about to be underway, and we need to all brace for the consequences of what is about to come. Let's go ahead and take a look at the latest headlines so that way you can see it for yourself. You can see here, just in, Iran's president Pezeshkian says that Iran is in a full-scale war with the United States. This coming out just a couple of hours ago. Ghalibaf, one of the leaders for Iran, he says Americans keep bringing new military equipment to the region and claim that they're after stopping the war. They've bet on our intelligence being as brief as their own IQ. We've reached the stage of mastery in recognizing these American games, and on a basis, we prepared ourselves. Actions must confirm claims, not contradict them. You can see this coming out just a little while ago today, and you can see here breaking Iran's foreign ministry on Trump planning to invade Karg Island. Many people on Karg Island are counting down the minutes to finally meet the American soldiers. They're saying preparing for all-out full-scale war announced today. And you can see the headlines coming out today. Pezeshkian tells Iranians to brace for the consequences of a full-scale war with the United States. not only are we no longer in the MOU, but they are saying this is not a minor war. This is not tit for tat escalation. They're preparing to pull out all the stops to escalate this to full scale. Now, man, let me know your thoughts.
So, no more MOU, no more ceasefire. We're back to full-scale war. But guess what? Israel just doesn't want to jump in. Nope, we're on our own. Yeah, we jumped in for Israel because they were going to get hit, and we're on our own. But not looking good. We've got 24 U.S. troop housing units were obliterated in Iranian strikes in Jordan. This is some satellite footage right there. They're saying we only had 3 casualties. I think the number is up to 3 now, and a bunch wounded. But I believe the numbers are a lot more than that. Another one from RT, 500 U.S. military personnel injured in the Iran war, as per AP. Take a look at this. Look at these are the housing barracks or whatever it is. And I'm going to make it full screen. Take a look at this. You're telling me nobody was in there? Look at that. Gone. Gone. What are our soldiers doing there? Why are they there? They're there to be sitting targets because guess what? They took out our eyes. We can't see the missiles coming anymore. That was the first thing they did was take out our radar. Yeah, we got satellites and all that shit, but we don't have the heads up that we used to have. It's not there anymore. So anybody that's on these bases, which they should not be on these bases, they should have been pulled out the moment we started. They're targets and they're sitting ducks. And this is all thanks to our friends. Right? Oh no, well, let's put the weight where it lies on Trump. This is Trump's fault. Not gonna put it any other way. Okay, another one from RT. At least 18 U.S. service members dead in Iran war from the Washington Post. 9 were killed in drone and missile strikes across Jordan, Kuwait, and Saudi Arabia. 6 more died when a refueling aircraft went down in western Iraq, and 3 were lost in last week's escalation. This is not good, folks. Right? Why are we doing this? Why was this young lady sitting over in the desert, just waiting for a bomb to drop? Pentagon identifies 2 U.S. soldiers killed in Iranian strikes on Jordan Air Base. Private Isabella Gonzalez, 19, killed July 17th, and First Lieutenant Tyler James Feehan, 25, killed July 18th. For nothing. They lost their lives for nothing. From Megatron, 2 days as Prime Minister and Burnham is taking UK to war. The new UK Prime Minister Burnham has approved the use of UK bases for US strikes on Iran. So now these British young men and women are going to be dead because of this clown right here, Burnham. Douglas McGregor says critical water desalination and power generation infrastructure in Kuwait hit by Iranian drones. So just like we're going after civilian targets, they are also going after civilian targets. But you notice they're not going after Israel. Nobody is going after Israel. Why is that? Isn't that strange? Pretty weird. Check this out. I made this Instagram post. This is Max Egan. Check out what he's got to say about who's not getting hit and why.
Even able to bomb Iran. The amount of missiles, what, wave 100, 102, 104, 106, what are we up to now? How many waves of hypersonic missiles are you sending over there? What are they hitting? Why is Tel Aviv still there? Why are any Israeli air bases functional? Why is any airports functional in Israel? Why is the power supply functional in Israel? How
They're not hitting Israel at all. They're going after all of their neighbors.
is Israel able to go and bomb Lebanon the way it's doing if you're firing all these missiles at Israel and hitting critical infrastructure? Is that what you're doing? Or are you simply firing missiles at energy infrastructure in the greater Middle East? and supporting the breakdown of the Western world. And we know Israel wants to destroy the United States. Israel wants to destroy the West. They've always wanted to do that. And we've seen how sadistic they're prepared to be about it. And kind of we're sitting back here watching all this theatrics in the Middle East, thinking, well, yeah, Iran's going to take down Israel. Well, Israel's been under missile attack from Iran for, 40 days now, 42 days. Why is it still there? Why is Tel Aviv still there? How can you have any air bases operational in Israel at all? Israel's the size of New Jersey, for God's sake. Why is it still there? What's really going on here? Because it doesn't seem like Israel's suffering at all. If Israel has still got the capability to go and carpet bomb Lebanon and do what it's doing, blowing up entire villages in Lebanon. Israel goes in there and plants explosives, wipes an entire village out in one blast, which shows you that there is no resistance there. They've got time to go in and wire up an entire village to explode in one blast. I would say there's no resistance. So what happened to all the people in that village? What, did they kill them? Rape, pillage and plunder? They murder them all in their houses before they got there? Give them evacuation orders? We don't hear about any of that sort of stuff, do we? You know, this is going to go where it's going to go now. Trump is completely compromised. That's what I meant before. I was saying, I mean, he's an idiot. He didn't know he was going to get thrown out to dry. The Iranian people also, I think they had to be pushed into this. But then, you know, a lot of these 31 commanders in this mosaic defense system seem to be targeting the wrong things. Like I said before, why does Israel still exist? Israel's the size of New Jersey. You're telling me you put over 100 waves of missiles into Tel Aviv? Why is there a building still standing? Look at Gaza. Look at Gaza. Look what Israel has done to Lebanon in 2 weeks. Why are we seeing anything standing at all in Tel Aviv? And why does Israel still have the ability to pound Iran the way it's doing and pound Lebanon the way it's doing and do what it's doing to Gaza? Why is anything still standing in Israel? I'd like that explained for me, please.
You see? How is Israel still standing? That's the question, right? Or is this all for show and it's just to watch the United States burn because it's just going to destroy us and the rest of the world too, but us in the long run? Our empire in the Middle East is over. That's done. The United States empire, we are... If we keep our bases in the Middle East after this is all said and done, but our world is going to change. It's going to be a new place after this because World War III is on. We're here, all right? It might not look like it, but we're in World War III. Another one from Alex Jones. Netanyahu's government just made a shocking admission. After Netanyahu started the Iran war on February 28th, Israel now has no intention of helping the United States win the war. And in fact, Israel will do everything it can to keep us in the war and the Strait of Hormuz closed. Take a listen.
Israel has no interest in joining U.S. war on Iran.
He's reading, I think, the finance minister, Bezalel Smotrich, and he's translating for him. Listen.
Israel has no interest in joining U.S. war on Iran. I say that when it comes to the state of Israel, we have no interest in joining the current situation where there is confined campaign between Iran and the United States. It is correct and best for us. We need to remember that our objective in the campaign, and this is not necessarily with the U.S., is to destabilize, weaken, to the point of overthrowing the regime. We cannot come to terms with the existence of a regime that strives to destroy the state of Israel openly, to take steps in that direction. The best way right now to bring down the regime is economically, simply to crush it economically. In this sense, the campaign and the renewal of President Trump's siege the Strait of Hormuz should be remembered in Iran. Therefore, the current situation is good for us, and we have no interest in pushing ourselves. It must be said that we are prepared, and incidentally, after yesterday's decision, for any scenario, the military is ready. And if the Iranians make the mistake and fire at us, then of course they will regret it and will face a very strong, determined, and powerful response.
Nice, right?
I mean, wow.
Very nice. So after starting this shit off and getting us into it, they have no intention of helping out. Pretty interesting, right? Pretty interesting. All right. Now, this one's from Mecosint on Twix. Why Jordan? Jordan is the key, the last and most important layer defending Israel. The increasing rate of direct hits is a direct result of radars and other U.S. equipment destroyed in Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, added to the depletion of air defense interceptors, something that couldn't have been achieved in a few days. During 20 years, CENTCOM turned the Arab countries into a dome protecting Israel, and Iran is now methodically dismantling it. And that's what they're doing. They're not going after Israel. They're going after the dome. And what are they going to, were they saving Tel Aviv for last? I don't think so. I think this is just going to get dragged out to make us all broke and destitute and willing for the new social credit system. You know what I'm saying? Because how are we gonna survive when oil goes to $400 a barrel? Triple your heating costs. You know what I'm saying? $15 a gallon for gas. It's gonna be a problem. It's gonna be a problem. But there's a lot of back and forth. From JD Vance, boom, he says, U.S. Air Force just demolished the IRGC headquarters. Most of the regime's leaders are now past tense. This is what happens when you kill U.S. soldiers. You die. This is the Vice President of the United States. These are the posts that these clowns are making. So in retaliation for them hitting the base in Jordan and killing a number of our soldiers, they took out the IRGC headquarters and they took a significant amount of their leadership out. I'll read this. The United States military sent a crystal clear message to our enemies. When American lives are taken, there are swift and devastating consequences. The precision strikes on IRGC leadership demonstrate the strength and resolve needed to protect our troops and national interests. Iran's regime has sponsored terror and attacked Americans for far too long. The decisive action reminds every adversary that harming our soldiers carries the ultimate price. No more weakness or empty warnings. Patriots stand united behind a commander-in-chief who prioritizes victory and deterrence. Yeah, not lives. America is back and our enemies are learning the hard way what real power looks like. God bless our troops. If he cared at all, they would be shutting those bases down and getting those sitting duck targets out of there. I'm just stating that because all they are doing is sitting there waiting to get killed. That's it. All right, we got something from Trump. This is from Megatron. President Trump on the recent Iranian missile attack that killed multiple servicemen in Jordan. Let's see what the president's got to say.
Well, we feel very badly, but you know, those...
Oh, you feel very badly? Yeah? What are you telling their parents? You just feel badly? And why are they doing this? So Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, right?
Great people, those great patriots were out there fighting that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Iran has been very, very badly damaged. They've lost everything almost militarily. They've got very little left. They've got some missiles. They've got some drones. They've got some manufacturing ability, not much. We control the strait. They don't control anything.
No, the strait's closed, guy. The strait's closed. Just because you blockaded their blockade doesn't make it open.
So we'll see what happens, but we hit them very hard again tonight. And we did that in honor of the probably three. It's probably three as opposed to two. Great patriots.
Yeah, it is three. Sick.
Iran has moved both centrifuges and enriched uranium to underground.
It turns out that Trump is threatening to hit Iran with a nuke. That's where we've gone. This is how far we've come so far. And we're not even in it for that long. This is where we're at. We're at dropping nukes now. Let's check this clip out. This one's from Steve Ram 3 as well. reset itself.
Honestly, they haven't seen anything yet. We've been nice. Any site where they're even thinking about nuclear, we'll be hitting it. Nobody knows, except the Iranians, the damage that we've done to them. If we left today, it would take them decades to rebuild.
Some pretty incredible developing news coming out
crazy.
today as we're hearing that the war with the United States and Iran is about to go nuclear. Take a look at the latest headlines with me. Iran threatens retaliation as Trump issues a stark warning. We'll hit nuclear sites. I'm going to be playing for you the video footages today. Donald Trump has warned that he is going to hit Iran with a nuclear bunker buster bomb and decimate Pickaxe Mountain, where we're hearing they have moved their centrifuge Iranian uranium nuclear material. Trump claims the U.S. will strike Iran's Pickaxe Mountain probably pretty soon. Now, Israel said they believe that Iran has moved both centrifuges and enriched uranium to underground nuclear sites. This site last year, President has downplayed the Houthis' threats to block the shipping in the Red Sea. In addition to that, now also we are hearing from CENTCOM. Take a look at this. The 11th straight night of attacks have just unfolded. CENTCOM forces began striking military targets in Iran at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today for the 11th consecutive night. Now, the strikes are designed to continue degrading Iran's ability to threaten commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz.
So that's where we are. We are almost at nuclear levels. And I forgot to mention, they've also closed off another strait. The Houthis have closed off the Strait of Bab el-Mandeb, whatever it's called. It's a funny name. All right, Bab el-Mandeb. Bab el-Mandeb. Bab el-Mandeb. All right. Next up, from Suleiman Ahmed, Trump says the U.S. will be targeting Iran's Pickaxe Mountain. Let's see what he's got to say.
Haley Bull with Scripps News. Thank you for the question. Do you believe that Iran has moved nuclear centrifuges into Pickaxe Mountain? And when you say we're not done yet, what is left to finish?
Well, I think that they may have. We don't have it on record. All we do is read the fake news. You know, we see.
Wait a
the news
minute.
is so wrong so many times.
All we do is read fake news. So you're going off of fucking information that you know is incorrect. You heard him say that, right? Let's rewind it back a little.
We see the news is so wrong so many times. So, you know, maybe this one they have right.
Maybe. Let's see what he says.
News, you know, we see the news is so wrong so many times. So, you
Yeah,
know, maybe
they have
this
it
one
right.
they have right. But it's okay. It doesn't mean anything unless they have the material. You're talking about the centrifuges. Yeah, it doesn't mean anything unless they have the material. They don't have. We follow the material. That's where the action is, and we'll be hitting that area probably pretty soon. And there's not a thing they can do about it. You know, normally I wouldn't say that. If I thought they could do something about it, I would never say that. But we'll be hitting that area pretty soon, and very heavily.
Ridiculous. Ridiculous. But we've got a shitstorm coming up for us, people. So get prepared. Do what you can now. Oh, I don't know what's going to happen. This is not financial advice, but tangible assets. They can't take that away. Well, they can, but it'll be hard. From Suleiman Ahmed, U.S. doesn't have enough missiles to return to all-out war against Iran, says the Daily Telegraph. U.S. has lost the war, and that's why Israel is too scared to join. I think we might be onto something, Suleiman. Think so. More from the Hormuz letter. Iran's IRGC says it has destroyed the entire Amazon Central Data Center facility in Bahrain with several cruise missiles overnight and warns it will now strike more tech facilities per Tasnim. The IRGC says this will begin a new phase, with Iran having previously warned 18 U.S. tech companies, including Tesla, Microsoft, Google, Apple, Nvidia, and Oracle, as legitimate targets. Iran has also previously declared all of Elon Musk's company as targets, specifically Starlink ground stations and satellites. That's what they're going after now. Now they're going after the billionaires. But that's kind of fun. That's kind of fun. All right, next up, let's see what our greatest allies have been in Lebanon. Doing over in Lebanon.
But I wasn't.
All right,
so y'all, I knew that Israel was committing ecocide in Lebanon.
What is he lighting on fire, though? What is he doing?
But I wasn't ready for this shit. Check it out.
Israel has sprayed chemical weapons 11,000 times stronger than normal pesticides across Lebanon. Israel is dropping catastrophic levels of glyphosate. The United Nations pulled test levels that read 11.
Wait, isn't that why we made it a national security element or something like that? We had to keep producing it for them, right? We could have got rid of glyphosate, but no, we gave the chemical companies immunity and weapons to Israel.
1,000 times stronger than normal chemicals. After the Israelis literally demolished the buildings, they're dropping chemical weapons on the ground to make the area uninhabitable, which is multiple war crimes and multiple international law violations going on at once. Lebanon has filed a United Nations complaint for Israel's violation of the Chemical Weapons Convention because of catastrophic levels of glyphosate, which is linked to this thing right here on agricultural soil. Normal levels of this would be maybe 2 micrograms per gram, but they're testing over 22,000. By the way, this has no military advantage. It seeps into the ground, and it doesn't harm anybody there until decades later. These have long-term effects that most people will not realize until it's far too late in their later years of life, holding no other purpose but long-term civilian pain.
So,
you see how sick that is? I would say demonic, but who am I, right? Who am I? All right. This looks like I lost something. We've got something from Syed Abbas Aragachi. He's like, what's his title? He's the foreign minister of the Islamic Republic of Iran. That's right, foreign minister. Compromised individuals in the U.S. administration are burying their heads in the sand. They ignore the realities on the ground and seem focused only on 2028. Exactly. The mindless aggression they advocate will only ensure that POTUS pays a heavier price for the deal he's trying to achieve. Some kind words from the foreign minister, right? Right? I think he's onto something, though. From Lost Civilization, we've got a little idea of how much money we're paying over to Israel per year, per state. Okay? DC, 73 million. Do they have a list here? I don't know the states by eye. 1.4 billion for Texas. Alaska, 33 million. California, 2.8 billion. You getting it? New York, 1.4 billion. Montana, 45 million. This is wild. Total in 17.47 billion a year we're just giving away. Well, we're working for it, but they're giving it away. It's nice, right? Very nice. From the Hormuz letter, Iran's IRGC announces that the Strait of Hormuz's southern route is now officially mined, warning shipping companies not to be deceived by U.S. guidance. They will blow up. The southern route was the U.S.-backed Omani alternative route and was previously understood as unmined. The previously only mined route was the middle lane used before the war. Okay, so no more traffic, guys. No more traffic. From Megatron, a retired U.S. general says the war against Iran could last 20 years. Yep, they are going to drag this out for a very long time, guys.
How much longer do you expect this to go on? And do you think munitions should be a limitation at this point? What do you hear?
No, I don't think, the Pentagon has done a great job of restocking the munitions. I don't think that's an issue at all. But I do expect that we're going to be there a long time. Operation Northern Southern Watch went on for, almost 20 years, I think. So I think this is going to be something similar. We're going to have to stay there. Those guys aren't going to change their behavior. We have to adapt. And I think, we're going to have to get the Gulf states and those that rely on the oil coming from the Gulf states to help pay for this.
They are not going to change their behavior. They already know that we're not doing anything. They're already admitting it. But we're going to go out there and fucking police it for 20 years. Another one from the Hormuz report. Iran's IRGC has announced it will target U.S. and Israeli commanders directly in their private residences in retaliation for the American strikes on the homes of Iranian commanders and their families, per an IRGC statement. So they went after their homes and their private residences as well. It wasn't just taking out the commanders at the headquarters. I didn't know that. Here's a quote. Because you targeted the private residences of our commanders and their families, all of your commanders in the region will now be targeted in their private residences as well. Came from an IRGC spokesman. Financial Times reported that Iran has already proven it can find the U.S. personnel anywhere. Tehran used SS-7 mobile network vulnerabilities and commercial ad data to track American troops in hotels and bases across the Gulf. So, more sitting ducks. But no, we took out everything. All of their air defenses, their Navy, it's all done. They were all finished. We won. We practically won. We're just hanging out, making sure that the strait remains blockaded. Closed but open, right? More from Megatron. The House just passed an Iran war powers resolution aimed at blocking military action against Iran. 4 Republicans joined Democrats: Fitzpatrick, Davidson, Massey, and Barrett. It's the Democrats that are saving the day. Go figure, right? Look at that. They're flipping and flopping and flipping and flopping. And this is how they do it. And then next year, everybody goes, oh, I'm going to vote Democrat. And then you vote Democrat and you chop your shit off. You're done. Oof. I got another one from the Hormuz letter. I went to this account quite a few times. Trump announces the U.S. is about to carry out a massive attack on Iran, way bigger than Operation Epic Fury. This is a quote. And bigger than any attack ever carried out before. We are all set for it and are close to making a decision. He's such a fucking retard. This comes as Israel have been placed on maximum alert with numerous anti-missile shelters opening in Israel today, including the suburbs of Tel Aviv. Oh, they might get hit? Really? They're worried? I don't know, guys. Trump also says Iranians haven't received enough pain yet. No? Come on, man. And claims they want to negotiate but are not ready to make a deal, contradicting Iran's comprehensive no negotiations with the U.S. doctrine reaffirmed by Ghalibaf, Garabati, Marandi, and Bagai this week. They're not looking to talk, but Trump says they're looking to talk. From Suleiman Ahmed, Trump says he will approve the nuclear deal for Saudi Arabia, but only if they join the Abraham Accords. You see? All for them. I'm going to read the post from Donald Trump. The civil nuclear deal, there will be no enrichment of material being made between the United States Department of Energy and Saudi Arabia, which pertains only to non-military use as the ones that Iran and UAE already have, will be approved, but it is totally subject to Saudi Arabia joining the very respected and successful Abraham Accords. So they have to bend the knee and recognize Israel. The United States is not opposed to civil, non-enriched nuclear facilities. Thank you for your attention. Yeah, shut up. Too much. Oh, you know what? Before we wrap this Iran stuff up, I got a clip from Redacted of kind of what's coming up next on the front of World War III. Gentleman speaking is Brandon Weichart. Check this out.
And I think it lasted like 8 years of occupation in that one little area. They couldn't get past the mountains. So how the hell is a land invasion going to happen?
So I think what they're looking at doing is they're going to try to get the Iraqi Kurds to open up a front, and they'll invade from northern Iraq into northern Iran. I think we've been secretly supplying the Mujahideen Khalq, MEK, for the last several months, and I think the MEK, the idea is they're going to rip open some new front within the country, you know, like a rebellion or whatever, with our weapons and our backing, which will cause chaos inside the country. And then the Jalani, likely, or Shara, whatever he's calling himself today, the president of Syria, former ISIS battlefield commander, will send his ISIS guys into southern Lebanon to relieve the Israelis and then wage war on the Iranian-backed Hezbollah there. And then it will all sort of reach this, apotheosis or crescendo with the airborne assault I was talking about on Karg Island, and probably some variation of a, for lack of a better term, island hopping campaign by a very ridiculously small force of 2 Marine Expeditionary Units.
And they are just begging us.
I think we've been secretly supplying the Mujahideen Khalq, MEK, for the last several months. And I think the MEK, the idea is they're going to, it will all sort of reach this
get back to where we
islands and possibly going for Bandar Abbas. It already looks like by air we've been trying to isolate Bandar Abbas, which is the big naval facility there on the coast in the Strait of Hormuz. All of this is to say, though, it is absolute mania. This is Hitler in the bunker moving units on a map that barely exists, thinking they're going to save Berlin from the Red Army. This is the stuff of delusion, and the president has no professional around him telling him that this is absolutely a disaster you are creating for this country. And I think he's going to get a lot of good men and women killed, and I think he's going to get a lot of innocent people, including innocent people in Iran. And I think we need to remember there are innocent people in Iran. This is not some monolithic entity we're dealing with. He's going to get a lot of people killed, and it's probably going to be the end of the American, empire, for lack of a better word, in the Middle East, which at the end of the day, I'm fine with getting rid of that empire, but how we do it is very important to me, and we're not doing it the right way.
Finally, I'll ask you about the CIA facilities and what you know about this and these possible Russian connections here with this. We know about the Russian influence and supplies inside of Iran and the Chinese supplies inside of Iran. But what do you make of this, that Iran this strike on these CIA facilities in the Gulf? And was Russia a part of it, do you believe?
I think the Russians and Chinese are actively targeting with their satellites our ships, our planes, and our bases. And I think for the Russians, this is a bit of revenge for what everybody knows we've been doing to them in Ukraine. Exactly. I mean, the United States has killed a lot of Russian troops, and indirectly, I'm not saying that we're on the ground, although there are. Anyway,
yeah, there are plenty of special forces on the ground.
That's right. That's right.
And plenty of NATO soldiers have been killed.
That's right. Mm-hmm. That's right. But the whole point here is this is a world war. Okay, this is not, we've already reached the threshold. We're in it. It doesn't feel like it because it looks different from other world wars. It's evolving into something that will look more like a world war the longer this goes on. Something your audience should watch is what's going on. If you look at the two fronts, if you look at the tip of Iran geographically and the southern point of Crimea, there's only about 621 miles separating them. If you go a little bit more to the east, you're basically in Central Asia, Caucasus region, and you see what's going on where the Israelis and Americans are attacking Iran from Azerbaijan. A Russian army moved into Kazakhstan and is holding there, and they're trying to get into Armenia because they don't want the Americans to overthrow the government in Armenia. And then also you have in Ukraine, the Ukrainians are attacking Russian wheat production, not just oil production. They're attacking the largest wheat producers in the world in Krasnodar and I believe Rostov, at the same time that the Strait of Hormuz is sealed off. This is already a world war. It's happening together. And every time I talk to IDF on different shows, I debated Jonathan Conricus not long ago on Mario Nawfal's show. Conricus randomly brought up Ukraine. He was fixated on Ukraine. The debate wasn't about that. And when I talked to another Israeli debating him on another show 2 days ago.
All right, enough of that. So, as you can see, guys, we are in it. It's World War III. Doesn't look like it, but it's going to evolve into something that we are expecting. Something more, something that looks more like World War III. You know what I'm saying? Does it feel like World War III? It doesn't feel like World War III, but when you think about it, it's going on. We've got, all these battles all tied together, and the guys pulling the strings, they're making bank. But are we making bank? No, we are not. But guess what? They don't want us to know that. For the first time in history, Trump canceled both the GDP and jobs reports. I wonder why. Maybe the economy isn't doing as good as he says it is. Huh? Crazy. All right, from off-record politics, it has been exposed that the U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve has been destroyed by the Biden administration with one site left, inoperable, forcing President Trump to clean up the mess and surge investments to fix everything. So we have one site out of 4 is inoperable of our strategic petroleum reserves. Having a very tough time saying that. That's pretty scary. I think we have like 30 days left or so. And then like we're going to feel it. I believe like we're flooding the market right now with our reserves, and that's why the price is kind of stabilized. Let's see what this says. A serious look at the nation's energy infrastructure. In a recent Fox Business report, details emerged regarding the operational status of U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve. According to current energy officials, the reserve sat at a 43-year low following the Biden administration's withdrawal of 180 million barrels back in 2022. We could surely use that right now, right? And that's exactly why he got rid of it. This shit was planned a long time ago, people. Do not be fooled. Furthermore, the undersecretary stated that one of the core storage sites was left completely inoperable, forcing the Trump administration to invest resources into moving uninstalled equipment that had been left exposed to the elements. While critics point to the past management, current officials emphasize that an active oil swap program is underway to repair the infrastructure and refill the country's strategic supplies. Well, you gotta get moving. You better get moving. Seriously. Whatever happened to that drill baby drill shit? Whatever happened to that? Next up, we got Benjamin Netanyahu pretty much threatening Spain. This is from GBC over on the Twix. I'm going to have to translate it for you. You can listen to it if you want. You want to listen?
ישראל לא תשתוק מול מי שתוקף אותנו. ספרד הכפישה את גיבורינו, את חיילי צה"ל, חיילי הצבא המוסרי ביותר בעולם. ולכן הנחיתי היום לסלק את נציגי ספרד ממרכז התיאום בקריית גת. לאחר שספרד בחרה שוב ושוב להתייצב נגד ישראל. מי שתוקף את מדינת ישראל במקום את משטרי הטרור, מי שעושה זאת לא יהיה שותף שלנו לגבי עתיד האזור. אני לא מוכן לסבול את הצביעות הזאת ואת העוינות הזאת. אני לא מתכוון לאפשר לאף מדינה לנהל נגדנו מלחמה מדינית בלי לשלם על כך מחיר מיידי.
Really? Because what happens next is massive wildfires burning in La Bisbal de Empordada in Gironia, Spain. Take a look at this. Look at those fires. Now, you guys understand the connection, right? You know how the wildfires work. Clear the land, get rid of everybody, it's uninhabitable, and then the price goes down, and you swoop in and grab it. Huh. What a coincidence, right? He just threatened Spain, and then there's these massive wildfires. And what did they find in Argentina with those wildfires? Didn't they find Israeli settlers, allegedly? Right? Just saying. He's only saying. All right, this is an interesting one. Remember UFC 250, the big fight on the White House lawn? Yeah. Well, there was a massive storm heading for that. And then all of a sudden, it kind of just, went around them. Did they move the storm? This is from Ariana Masters.
Was it a coincidence or intervention that Sunday's severe storm skipped over the White House UFC 250 event?
It was crazy that the weather just went around us. Last minute, the storm just diverted.
That's right.
Well, Washington, D.C. was predicted to have severe storms specifically during the highly anticipated event, but instead the tornadoes, extreme winds, and flooding never reached Pennsylvania Avenue. The storm system parted like the sea around the area so perfectly that the event was delayed less than an hour because of lightning. Well, on my weather show, I already analyze radar, satellite, earthquake, smoke, heat signatures, and other related data every day. So naturally, I looked at what was happening during the event, and what I found was pretty interesting. Just as the severe storm was moving northeast, heading directly toward the event, an extreme display of radar ripples and static suddenly entered the scene.
Radar ripples and static. Interesting. Kind of like what they did with, what was that, Hurricane Helene, right? Over in North Carolina?
Now, mainstream meteorologists dismiss these as
glitches or artifacts or reflections from birds, bugs, or other objects.
And sure, when you see one or two little oddities, fine, that could be what that is. However, when it's extreme, boom, 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 all over the radar incessantly, that's when my foil gets even.
And then the storm splits.
Pointier. Because of my experience, nearly every time these excessive radar glitches show up this dramatically, I see unusual and suspicious weather behavior accompanying it in the exact area. And that's not even the kicker. Oh no. The most bizarre and suspicious pattern I've noticed is that many times when I see this, an earthquake happens in the area. Usually not big enough to make any headlines, but it happens. And before anyone says,
weather doesn't cause earthquakes.
Yes, correct. Normal weather shouldn't cause earthquakes, and that's exactly the point. I've been tracking this particular phenomena in detail on my show because we keep finding earthquakes popping up in the areas where these excessive radar anomalies appear. So after seeing the radar anomalies around DC, I checked the earthquake map and surprise, surprise, an earthquake did occur just a few hours later in a nearby region that does not commonly see quakes above 2.0 mag. Now, is it far-fetched to suggest a federal agency might clear skies for a major public event? Not at all. No. Russia does it openly and is notorious for manipulation around certain holidays. They practically brag about it. The difference is, here in the United States, due to our Constitution and our Bill of Rights, these things wouldn't be legal if made public. All I'm saying is, watching this data every day, really interesting patterns have emerged, and at some point, coincidence becomes connection.
You got a point there, Ariana. You have got a point, and we don't believe in coincidences. Right, people? We do not believe in coincidence. From Nick Sorter, this is insane. The 250,000 plus foreign voters DHS discovered were just in 4 states. Yeah, they found 250,000 proven foreign voters, and that was only in 4 states. They still have 46 other states to comb through. Yeah. Massive problem, and that's why they do not want this Save America Act passed, because it's a no-brainer. Let's see what happens, right? Let's see what happens. All right, Trump just told people to stop fighting data centers. He said communities need to be convinced how great they are. You can't fight it, you have to go with it. He's telling you. You can't fight it. He is fully pushing for the infrastructure boom. Let's hear the turd.
You have to convince your community how great these things. You can't fight it. You have to go with it. And you're going to have all that protection, and we're giving you automatic protection, but you're going to make a tremendous amount of money. You're going to reduce taxes, and you're going to have something that if you don't have it, everybody else wants it. Because
terrible. We have to convince everybody that giving the water to the machines is a good idea. Right, jacking up our energy costs, that's a great idea. We have to convince people that that's good. That polluting the water table, that's a good idea, right? The noise pollution, that's a great idea. The fact that now livestock are being born stillborn, That's a good idea. Yeah, livestock around the areas, due to this low hum frequency, are getting all sorts of like problems. All sorts of stillbirths are happening on farms. It's not good. It's not good. But these data centers are great, right? They're great. They're perfectly great. That's what Trump says. The information's out there if you choose to look for it. Moving along, we got a post here from Joe Gillespie the Great, and it turns out that Google may have access to parallel universes. Crazy.
Google says their quantum chip. Their new computer chip has gained access to parallel universes. Yeah, you can replay that if you want, but you heard me right. Google says their new quantum chip, shown here, may not have only proven that the multiverse actually exists, but they may have gained access to those parallel universes. I hope this hasn't caused anything weird to happen on Earth in the past few weeks. Yeah, right? There's stories all over about how that quantum chip has proven the multiverse exists and parallel universes are something we can contact. According to Google, this new quantum chip is so powerful, it can do math equations 10 septillion times faster than the best computer on the planet.
They could probably answer the question before you even ask it.
So that quantum chip, AI, is basically light years ahead of the best computer that man had made up till now. So let me get this straight. They say they proved the multiverse exists. They say they can contact parallel universes. And since then, thousands of drones have been just going around the Earth watching us. Probably just a coincidence. You know. Yeah. Okay, Booshkis, I just wanted to share this with you. Shabadoo!
All right, Joe. Shabadoo-doo-doo. So, Google accessing parallel universes. That might be where they're getting some of our politicians from, right? Because these people are out of this world, man. Some of these people are nuts. From Bed Werman, some people... Oh, this is a good one. I wanted to share this. This is one of those rockets that when they shot it up in the air, it hit something. This was the Go Fast rocket, right? So they launched the rocket, and yes, this is a flat Earth conspiracy, as they call it, but you know what? There's more proof out there that the world is flat than there is that it's round. If you really look at it, you're going off of information that the mainstream education system is giving you. Now, they lied to us about everything, right? They've lied about everything. Now look at it. It's going. Flying through the air, no problem. They've lied about everything. Now, why would they pick the shape of the Earth to start telling the truth? Right? I'm just putting it out there. You know, why would two presidents go in front of the world? What did it just hit? And try to debunk. What did it hit? Why did it slow down? Or is it in some kind of... It's just too much. Everybody says, "Oh, it left the atmosphere."
Some people have suggested that it hit a dome that may be above us, but I thought at that velocity it would have been destroyed.
Exactly.
So I didn't think much of it when I originally watched it. When you watch the video, the rocket just stops, and so I started looking up the stats. That rocket went over 3,500 miles per hour on that trip. Now, it might not have been going that fast when it stopped, but it was going a few thousand miles per hour at least, and it just, all that energy just suddenly, where did it go? Rockets don't have brakes. It literally stops, and I mean the rotation keeps going a little bit, but all of that angular momentum from the rotation of the rocket and the linear momentum from flying up just stopped. No, it had to have hit something.
Watch it. See, it's just cruising. then it just clunk. Boom. What is that?
But what did it hit? If it hit a solid surface, the rocket would have been destroyed, and most likely the camera too, so we wouldn't have the footage, and obviously that's not the case. So when you start watching it, around that time, around a minute in, a few seconds later, the two stages separate. It's a two-stage rocket, it looks like, and you watch the bottom half of the rocket start to fall down, as you would expect. But then the upper half, the way the camera's mounted to it, starts spinning around, and very slowly it starts to fall back towards Earth. Very slowly.
Alright. Yeah, that is falling very slow. Just very strange. Weird, right? What do you guys think? What do you think of
You might think, well, it got
flat Earth.
I have it up here. The Go Fast rocket got up to about 117 kilometers. And outer space is considered in the thermal layer. Once you cross into the thermal layers, technically you're in outer space. But what doesn't make sense is, just because you fly vertically into outer space doesn't mean that you're just going to float there. That's not how it works, based on the heliocentric model. You have to have an orbital velocity, and these orbital velocities are incredibly fast. You have to be orbiting the Earth to resist the force pulling down on you, gravity, weight, whatever you want to call it.
It just doesn't add up, people. That's what I'm saying. It just does not add up, and we can't watch that whole thing because it's like a 10-minute video. All right, from the Bulwark, we have JD Vance, Vice President of the United States, on Joe Rogan, and he's trying to make his spot and run for president. So he's trying to take the stance of not exactly anti-Israel, but he's not following them like a little puppy like Trump does. Check it out.
Well, most people think he was Mossad.
Yeah, Mossad or CIA or some other deep state, whether in America or Israel or another country, or both. Look, he clearly had connections to the highest levels of American intelligence. He clearly had connections to the highest levels of Israeli intelligence.
Yeah. So he's admitting it. He knows who Epstein was. Epstein wasn't just a trafficker. He was a weapons dealer. That man did a lot. And he's probably still doing a lot, because I really don't think he's dead. There's no way that man is dead. Check this out. This is JD Vance on Israel's effect on Americans' political judgment.
Do you think that Israel is affecting American political judgment?
I mean...
Do you think...
You see that one? I mean, now, the guy can't answer the question without really making some shit for himself. He doesn't want to do that. So, yeah, I mean, but getting crazy, man. All right, next up, we got a clip on Palantir. This is Whitney Webb, and she's going to explain pretty much that Palantir was created by the United States. You know, we just privatized it when it became a problem with our civil liberty protections. Let's check the clip out. Here we go.
Peter Thiel, as an example, Palantir has been in the news, right? He's a co-founder of that. So how was Palantir created? Well, there was this company that was being run, or not company, sorry. It was a government program after 9/11 called Total Information Awareness. It was housed within the Pentagon's DARPA office. And the man they chose to put in charge of that was John Poindexter, who was the highest ranking member of the Reagan administration to be indicted for his role in Iran-Contra, which, again, the continuity of government stuff is relevant here. So eventually, it launches and whatever, but people are outraged by it because, as they rightly pointed out, it would eliminate constitutional protections of Americans' rights, specifically the right to privacy, among other things. It was a huge surveillance dragnet, and its goal wasn't just to, surveil everything. It was to predict crime before it happens, predict terror attacks before it happens. I mean, it's like Minority Report was basically the end goal of it. And so after all the pushback, they changed the name to Terrorist Information Awareness and try and rebrand. Oh, it's not total. We are still going to surveil innocent Americans, but we're focusing on the terrorists. You know, they did all this stuff to try and rebrand it. But Congress defunded it. But hidden in that bill, Congress allowed aspects of it to continue. And essentially, I argue in my work on Palantir that an effort was made to privatize large aspects of TIA as Palantir. Because when Alex Karp and Peter Thiel were setting it up, they went to John Poindexter through this guy named Richard Pearl, who was a long-standing neocon actor with very extensive ties also to the state of Israel. He was like caught in the 70s giving classified information to Israel's embassy and should have gone to jail and somehow did not. And had a lot of ties also to Netanyahu's first government. And Richard Pearl is the guy that connected Thiel Karp to Poindexter, and they basically wanted to talk to Poindexter because they wanted to recreate total information awareness and saw him as the godfather of modern mass surveillance. And in doing so, they basically, Peter Thiel teams up with In-Q-Tel, the CIA's venture capital firm. Alex Karp has said on record that the intended clients of Palantir from the beginning was the CIA. And, the CIA was their first client for their first 6 years as a company. Their top developers went to Langley, Virginia, which is CIA headquarters, every 2 weeks to show the CIA their product and have them tweak it to their liking. And during that period of time, one of the top people at the CIA that would have been involved in that is this guy named Alan Wade, who was also intimately involved with total information awareness. And if you look at how total information awareness was described, its privacy protections, it's exactly the same as the way Palantir sold their stuff later on. So there's an insane amount of overlap. And what's crazy here is that Alan Wade, a few years prior, had created a Homeland Security software program that was also pre-crime-esque and similar to what Palantir ended up doing. It was called Kiliad, and he teamed up with Christine Maxwell to do that.
And that's Ghislaine Maxwell's sister, the one who's got all of the FBI data. Yeah, that one. So very interesting that Palantir started off as a government project that, when it got out of hand and people found out about it, that it was infringing on our rights, we just privatized it. That's all. Facebook started off the same way. I think it started off as LifeLog. And then all of a sudden, these geniuses popped out of wherever the hell they went to school, Massachusetts. And then you got Facebook. Pretty interesting. All part of our wonderful digital cage. All part of the beast system. Let's get into some of this block and AI nonsense. Trump says, from MJ Truth Ultra, Trump says thanks to Google's AI data center in Georgia, they will be able to eliminate property taxes completely. Really? That's interesting. Let's see if they could pull that off. See how he says this.
Incredible to look at, to see that we could do something like this, but they also throw off tremendous amounts of money for the community. And when you look...
This is how they're trying to trick people into you're going to get a kickback from the data center.
Look at Georgia and you look at the revenue. Think of that. Revenue from Google's data center construction, allowing them to eliminate all property taxes. Did you know that, Brian? That's not bad, right? So thank you very much. Great job. That's a great job. And you probably had some negative stuff, a little heat. Oh, we don't want a data center. Usually those are the people that actually want them and they'd like you not to build them. Because you know what? If it doesn't go to you and if it doesn't go to Georgia, as an example, it's going to go someplace else. And those people are very happy to get them, too, the smart people.
All more lies, 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 lies. Well, lies and hypocrisy. We've got, I got a clip here from Hustle Bitch, and this is of the Flock CEO saying that people don't hate his cameras, they're just mad at the government. No, people like their privacy, you moron. That's all. People do not want to be watched 24 hours a day. That's just the bottom line.
But when you can see a camera it's something to point at when you're mad. And so I think the issue is not that people dislike my company, it's that they are mad and they need somewhere to point. And they're mad at the current federal administration because we didn't have this problem 2 years ago. We didn't have this problem a year ago. This is a current thing. And
yeah, they these flock cameras been around for a while. They're getting more and more and more. But this guy's starting shit where he's calling this group D-Flock, calling them terrorists. Now, all they do is let you know where the flock cameras are. They don't say what to do. They don't give you any ideas. They just point them out on a map. This guy says that that's terrorism. Why would that be terrorism? Huh? You want to know where everybody is, what everybody's doing at all times, but when somebody wants to know what the fuck you're doing, then it's terrorism. You see how that works? Let's let this guy keep going.
It'll move past.
That's the CEO of Flock, and people say he might be the most delusional guy in America. People don't hate Flock because they're angry at the government. They hate Flock because it gives the government the ability to track them wherever they go. And let's not even get started on where some of these cameras are being installed.
So what Jason had discovered is that over 1,000 times, Flock employees viewed those cameras inside this private community center, including but not limited to the pool, the daycare center, the children's gymnastics room, and nobody had been arrested.
Why is there a license plate reader in a children's gymnastics room? You see?
Arrested. Nobody had to answer any questions about it. In fact, they actually made it harder for Flock to collect an audit or to collect a record of who was looking at the camera internally from the company.
Wait, just to be clear, it was Flock employees who were not licensed law enforcement officers.
All
right?
grown men. Yes. All Flock employees, over 1,000 times, and they were all grown men. And they were looking at these cameras at the daycare center, the children's gymnastics room, and their defense to this was that it was a product demo for another client. And I'm thinking to myself, if I had a business and I wanted a Flock camera, if I had a police department and somebody pulled up a laptop and said, look how good this works, and then it was a children's gymnastics room, I would call the police, or hit them. I'm not sure what I would do, but that's an outrageous explanation. That's just delusional.
And these delusions don't just end there. This guy actually thinks he'll win over Americans by saying stuff like this.
Sure. Have you thought about working with the federal government at all? Do you have partnerships with them at that level?
We don't, no, because I think for us, there's 18,000 cities to go after. Sure. We got plenty of work to do.
How many cities are you in now?
Just over 5,000 or 6,000.
What is the TAM here? I imagine, actually, in an ideal world, people just stop needing to pay for your product.
That would be lovely. That sounds great. I would like to live in that world. I'd like for my kids to live in that world.
Right. But what is the TAM?
No, you look at it this way. What is the price you'd be willing to pay to be safe?
I don't know.
How much a year would you be willing to pay? How much do you pay for Netflix?
I have no idea.
I
have a terrible financial report.
Netflix is like $50.
I would pay $100,000 a year to guarantee my safety.
Wouldn't pay that. I don't think you'd pay that much. I think you might want to, but the way we think about the TAM is, there's however many hundreds of millions of people in America. Uh-huh. What is the cost of being safe? What is the price we're willing to pay? And for us, it's very important that doesn't become a privatized privilege.
Sure.
We believe safety should be up there with clean water, safe roads. It should be something that every American has the benefit of.
Oh, well, now that you mentioned that it's free, or it might be free someday, sure, yeah, I'll bite. I'll take, you want to put Flock in my fucking bathroom? You could put Flock in the bathroom, yeah. Oh, Flock on the playground, Flock in the woods, Flock everywhere. Flock everything. We love it, right? We're going to love Flock. Everybody's going to like Flock. It's for your safety, folks. It's for your safety. It's a God-given right to be constantly surveilled by somebody that's trying to control you. That's just like, we just don't know what we want, really. We just don't know what we want. Next up, from Shadow of Ezra, multiple police officers are being removed from their positions for using Flock cameras to stalk and track their own family members. Check this clip out.
Yes, I did. People that I spoke to in the Fayetteville area call this very alarming, that police officers are using those Flock cameras for their own purposes. They say that this raises new questions about privacy, accountability, and how the technology is monitored.
For many, Flock cameras are supposed to make communities safer.
But after 3 officers allegedly abused the system for personal reasons, some residents are questioning whether the technology has enough safeguards.
I don't think they should be misused for personal use or any other use unless it's for a legal reason.
According to the Fayetteville Police Department, the officers improperly used the license plate reader technology to look for relatives and acquaintances. Actions the department says fell outside of the scope of their duties. Now, some residents are calling for stronger oversight.
They should be for that specific purpose. If they're able to use it for all these other reasons like tracking people, either they need a new company that has protections on the gear to where you can't do all that stuff, or there needs to be some checks and balances on it.
Atlanta News First reached out to Flock Safety. The company's CEO says while the allegations are disappointing, it also demonstrates that agencies can detect misuse.
It's a disappointing story when I see it, but I also go, look, this is working. This is showing that if you use a tool like Flock or other tools, you should be held accountable, regardless of whether you have a badge or you don't.
This all comes as Flock cameras continue to face scrutiny across metro Atlanta. In some communities, opponents have even vandalized or removed the cameras. Fayetteville resident Willie Wells says the latest incident only reinforces his concerns.
Remember last week, somebody got 18 years for taking down 3 cameras.
Unconstitutional, and they have to pay us for our data. Okay, we're becoming a police state. We got to stop it.
That's right. We are becoming a police state. And he's got a point. They should have to pay us for our fucking data. If you're taking pictures of me, you should pay me. We're all models now. We're all models that are not getting paid. And this is the runway. All right, guys. Next up, we got another scary one. And we think Flock is bad. Check this out. There's something called Falconet.
Texas police just spent $4.5 million on 4 Tahoes, but it's not just the trucks, it's what's inside them. These Tahoes are packed with something called Falconet from the
Israeli Palantir rival.
Israeli company Cognite. Falconet is designed as a cell tower simulator capable of intercepting and collecting data from people's cell phones. The idea is that you can strap this technology to the Tahoes, and as they drive around, they can collect people's data. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but I have to only assume this infringes on the 4th Amendment somehow. Only about $600,000 was spent on the actual trucks, the rest was spent on the technology, but still insane that a U.S. police department is now using this. Texas police just spent...
That's wild. They spent $1 million for 4 spy vans. I think we're going to have more, right? I think they'll probably unleash these things all throughout the country. We're done, guys. You call me black-pilled, whatever the fuck you want. We are done. Here's a post from Garbaggio Conspiracy and D-Flock over on X. A Flock vice president logged into Dunwoody PD's Flock system and looked at a camera in the children's gymnastics room of a private community center here in Dunwoody. He did not look at any other cameras in the entire 400 camera network that day. And he said that it was for a product demo. Listen to this. According to a letter published in Appen Media on September 30th, 2025, a Flock safety vice president accessed a camera feed in the children's gymnastics room of a Dunwoody, Georgia private community center through the local police department's Flock system. The camera was one of over 400 in the network, and it was the only one viewed that day. The community center had shared its cameras with police under an agreement limited to real-time critical incident response. City and company officials stated it was part of an authorized sales demonstration. So why the kids' room? That's what the problem is. Why did you pick the children's gymnastics room for your sales demo? You could have picked the smoking lounge, whatever. But no, it's the kids' room. People are so sick. From the health ranger, Zach Voorhees at Perpetual Maniac, and I warned you this was coming. Yup. Well, because of Trump's announcement, and I didn't mention it, but Trump came out last Thursday and he announced that the election was stolen and it was from China. China did it. So now that everybody knows how deep Israel has their claws in our country, now they're pointing the finger at everybody else that's doing something wrong. You know what I'm saying? This is from Andrew Karan. The Trump administration is considering an executive order and other means to ban Chinese open source models within the United States. Kimmy K3 has reignited this debate, reporting this morning by Axios, Commerce is also considered adding Chinese AI labs to the entity list. Because guess what? These Chinese models are working better and they're cheaper. So they can't have that. They can't have us using Chinese models, right? So they're going to say it's a threat to our national security. Anything to squeeze us raw. Disgusting. They disgust me. Well, Germany is withdrawing its diplomatic staff from Iran. So shit's about to go down. From Lord Notique, you guys got to see this. If you're listening to this and you're not watching on YouTube, you're doing yourself a disservice. They now have these things, they're like little flying drones that they're going to be putting in classrooms, I believe, to help children. Now, these things are supposed to shoot mosquitoes out of the air, and they're doing the demo with a moth, but you could see where this is going. You could see what kind of accidents might happen, right? But it's for safety. Check it out. See the drone? Look at it.
What?
That's all for drama, you know, make it a little more dramatic. But check out the product demo.
When these drones launch from their boxes, they launch with a single purpose.
Projectiles.
To make sure that every child here gets to go home safely.
Yeah, because instead of mandating guns, we should make flying turbo super guns that could mow down 100 children within a minute. This is so intelligent, guys. Wow, this is the precipice of humanity and intellect. This is so great. These totally aren't going to be used on protesters or anything. Who would think that?
Yeah. Take a look one more time, guys. One more time. This is what's coming.
What?
And this guy is talking about keeping kids safe
from their
with
boxes,
these drones.
They launch with a single purpose. To make sure that every child here gets to go home safely.
Yeah.
Wild. You're going to put that in the classroom. That's crazy. All right, we got I got a reel here from True Earth 911, and this is just some more proof that everything's scripted. All these tech billionaires all reading from the same script. Listen to this.
We really are living in a cognitive Wild West.
We really are living in a cognitive Wild West.
Living in a cognitive Wild West.
A cognitive Wild West. Most people have near zero mimetic defenses or cognitive security suited for the age of synthetic media.
Near zero mimetic defenses or cognitive security
suited for the age of synthetic media.
The age of synthetic media.
The age of synthetic media.
Synthetic media.
Whatever
synthetic.
immunity you have is worn down by the constant expectation of deception.
Whatever immunity you have is worn down by the constant expectation of deception.
Constant expectation of deception.
Worst of all, you've already epistemically surrendered. You've already
Epistemically
surrendered.
Worst of all, you've already epistemically
Jeff
surrendered.
Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, all of them, all reading from the same script. From Dr. Jane Ruby, more scary stuff. All those years I watched the Terminator movies with the little ones, I used to say to myself, God, that would be terrible to live like that. And here we are. Take a look at this. These are drones that are carrying humanoid robots. Yeah, humanoid robots. All you got to do is put a rifle in his arm and then we're really, truly done. Take a look at the video, people. This is what we're living in now. We're living in flying Terminator land. This is real. You want that floating around your neighborhood? It's gonna be a new police car carrying around a cage. A cage on a chain. We are so cooked, people. Cool fly. That's what they call it, cool fly. Oh, thank you. No, thank you. All right, from Jason Bassler, Flock has a hidden weakness many don't know. Public record requests. Activists have successfully forced at least 8 cities to shut down Flock programs, either by exposing unauthorized data access or showing footage was publicly accessible. One of the most effective ways to take down Flock cameras are FOIA requests and PRA requests. And he gives a template. So if you're interested, go over and follow Jason Bassler over on Twix. The wealth of information on this subject. So go check it out. All right, we did that. Next up, let's see what we got from President Trump. Little spiel on China. Like I said, he came out and he did this big announcement saying that the 2020 election was interfered with by China and, you know, great big boogeyman and everything, all to steer everybody away from the fact that they're integrating our military and intelligence with another country. So here's some questions for Trump, asking about any pressure going to go on China.
And until they're ready to meet in a meaningful way, we have no interest in even.
Mr. President, are you planning on putting any pressure or consequences on China for what you announced about them meddling in the 2020 election?
Well, we're going to talk to them about it. It took place a long time ago. I think China's maybe a little bit different today than it was then. But look, they do things and we do things to them. I'll be honest. We do things to them too. It's not a one-way street. But we'll be talking to them, you know.
So they're going to have a stern talking to. You meddled with the election. You put a fucking corpse in office, but we're going to have a talking to. As you can see, it's all bullshit, people. This is all fucking bullshit. But hey, we move on, right? From RT, China erected a Pentagon warship to attack America. We've got a satellite report from CNN. Look. China appears to build a full-scale mock-up of a U.S.
city
warship.
Deep inside the western Chinese desert, what appears to be a full-scale mock-up of a U.S. Navy Arleigh Burke-class destroyer. Look at it side by side with the USS Fitzgerald. The resemblance is striking. Both are around 510 feet long. At the back, the helicopter flight deck, used to launch and recover naval helicopters. Next are the vertical launch systems, cells used to fire guided munitions like the Tomahawk cruise missile, heavily used in the conflict with Iran. This is the bridge and command area, where navigation, communications, and combat operations are controlled. At the front is the deck gun, used for surface targets, air threats, and shore bombardment. Together, the details suggest a carefully built, full-scale replica of one of America's main guided missile destroyers, workhorses of the U.S. Navy fleet, more than 70 sailing in oceans around the world. If conflict...
So now they're making this big old threat is China, right? Always been the threat. Trump's always talking shit about China. All right, so we've got some wonderful news here on Trump's financial disclosure. Do you dare? Do you want me to read this? He doesn't get a salary, but check this out. All right, everybody's like, oh, he's so nice. He didn't take a salary because he's doing this. Okay, the filing paints. Trump's 2025 financial disclosure is out. The filing paints a remarkable picture of how much money flowed through Trump's business empire while he served as president. From crypto ventures and equity sales to media settlements, the numbers are enormous. $635 million from the Trump meme coin, while retail investors watched it crash from $74 to $1.68. $594 million from World Liberty Financial Token and stablecoin sales, a crypto venture co-founded with his sons. $65 million from selling equity in that same company. $80+ million in media settlements from ABC, CBS, Meta, and YouTube, paid to his own presidential library. Total crypto haul over $1.4 billion in 1 year while serving as president of the United States. His net worth has nearly tripled from $2.4 billion to $6.3 billion since taking office. And while Trump pocketed $1.4 billion from crypto, the everyday Americans who bought his meme coin, they lost. 764,000 wallets ended up in the red. If you invested $10,000 in Trump coin on January 20th, 2025, it would be worth $415 today. If you invested $1 million in Melania on the day it launched, you would have about $8,000. So there's Big Daddy Trump helping us out, right? All right. And from Ken Klippenstein, more propaganda. State Department news report on Cuban influence focuses on various American citizens like Hassan Piker, Christian Smalls, and Isra Hirsi, daughter of Ilhan Omar, as well as American organizations like the Democratic Socialists of America. Clint Russell responds, I'm sure everyone has figured out now, but here's the play. The American people woke up to Israel's outsized influence, so we will now be flooded with stories like Cuba buying influences, right? China stealing the election, right? And Qatar having congressional plants. Exactly what I'm talking about. This is absolutely nuts. This is what the Post says. Declassified intelligence Trump declassified intelligence documents live on TV. That's when he was proving that China stole the election. While he did that, he actually showed Putin and senior Russian officials were running proxy operations to smear Biden and ensure the president's victory. That president was Trump. He published the receipts on his own, Russian help in front of the entire country, and he didn't even realize it. I'm sure he realized it. He just doesn't really give a fuck. That's all. He doesn't care. That's a wrap. And on that note, folks, it is a wrap. We are at the last video, so I will see you guys on the other side of this one. But the caption says, when I'm feeling down, I remember what Kamala Harris once said. So we're going to play this one out, and I'll see you guys on the other side. Better play.
Today is today. And yesterday. Today is today. And yesterday was today yesterday. Tomorrow will be today tomorrow. So live today. So the future today will be as the past today as it is tomorrow. Today is today. And yesterday.
Well, that could probably go around in circles, right? Could probably just loop that. But it could have been that, guys. We could have had Trump. Well, we got Trump. Or we could have had Kamala Harris. I don't know which is the lesser of two evils, honestly. But I think you guys know what time it is. It is time for me to get the hell out of here. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you to all of our YouTube subscribers. As you can see, the audience is growing. Thank you for sharing the show, because the show truly would not be growing if it wasn't for you guys sharing it. So thank you. It's getting crazy out there, all right? They're not done with us. It's going to get wild. It's going to get crazy. It's going to get hot and tight. So stay safe. I'm not trying to be dirty, but I love y'all. Peace.